Hey, folks, this clip is brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ. That is Farm Bureau Health Plans. For the top dude from Tennessee's draft class, I mean, what can you say about Darnell Wright? Just getting everything we wanted to see for this guy and more. A top 10 pick. There was real speculation that he could fall to the Titans, and we don't totally know, but I could have seen absolutely, if he was available at 11, the Titans took an offensive lineman. I think that absolutely could have happened. But ultimately goes to the Bears at 10. I'm jealous of the Bears. They get an incredible offensive lineman. And just, man, there was even that talk before the draft where it was like, did you send it to me? Something where there were these rumors of just his work ethic. We're not sure if he is really up to the task or something. All these questions. Top 10 pick. Get out of here. Dude's top 10 pick.
The stuff with the character, it always comes out about certain guys, right? And with Darnell Wright, that couple little things popped up days before the draft, which was really strange because we had not heard anything like that. I mean, we've been following him at Tennessee since the Jeremy Pruitt era, and never really heard anything like that about him. Nothing that would have stuck out. The only guy coming out of Tennessee that you might would have heard stuff about was Jeremy Banks, and all that stuff's very well documented, the legal issues and the things that happened with being kicked off the team and reinstated. We know all about that. Didn't have that stuff with Darnell Wright. There was one time that there was rumors that he might transfer, and he never did. He stuck around at Tennessee and did everything the coaches asked him, never complained, moved to left tackle, moved to right tackle, went where, and excelled, especially at right tackle. And then you hear this workout that the Bears put him through, like they tried to make him give up. It almost sounded like some military training or something that they were putting him through. They were like, we're going to push you until you can't even stand up anymore. And they were giving him play calls and changing the play calls at the last second, before the ball was snapped and all these different scenarios thrown at him. And they were like, they just couldn't tire him out. They couldn't make him give up. I mean, that's ultimately why they were comfortable taking him in the top 10.
Absolutely. And so excited for him. Can't wait to see these dudes play, because ultimately what this really means, and this is probably like the main conversation I feel like a lot of Tennessee fans want to hear, but man, how big is this for Tennessee recruiting? You actually saw, I think I was looking for it on my phone just now, but where was it? This is Patrick Brown from 247. He tweeted this out earlier. Josh Heupel with some Vols draft thoughts regarding his offense and its players not translating to the NFL. Quote, I've had more wide receivers drafted in the last 3 years than any other college coach. I think that speaks to what we're doing and how we're developing those guys.
Well, speaking of that comment right there, Jalen Hyatt landing with the Giants. Brian Dable talked to the media after they selected Hyatt, and he was asked about kind of the routes and stuff that Jalen Hyatt ran at Tennessee. And Dable told reporters, yeah, some of the same routes he ran at Tennessee are some of the routes we run here with the Giants. I'm like, we've heard so many NFL coaches, a lot of them anonymous, like The Athletic will interview some of these guys, and they didn't really. I mean, yeah, there were some that had concerns, but a lot of them weren't that concerned about what they did at Tennessee. Like, it was more these draft analysts and these media folks that get on ESPN and talk, and it's a talking point because it's easy. It's a different type of offense. It's a real easy narrative to put out there. People buy into it. I'm sure some NFL teams did buy into it. That's why some of those guys slipped a little bit. But they act like it's a completely different sport that they're playing at Tennessee in this offense. I don't understand it. At the end of the day, you've got an offensive line, 5 guys and a tight end, blocking. You're trying to complete a pass down the field, and you're trying to get your wide receiver to beat a defensive back. I mean, it's I know that there's obviously some very complex offensive systems out there. We've seen people try to install those and it failed, like Dave Clawson back at Tennessee in 2008. But at the end of the day, football is football. It's throwing the ball down the field and trying to get open. And they act like it's just this foreign concept at Tennessee. And it doesn't seem like the NFL necessarily shares that same viewpoint.
Farm Bureau Health Plans has been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years, and much has changed in Tennessee over the years, but some has stayed the same. Farm Bureau Health Plans has always valued personal relationships, especially when it comes to good health and good service. Plan on Farm Bureau Health Plans for health, dental, and vision. For better coverage, better rates, and better service, go to fbhp.com/ATOZ or walk into one of their 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. That is fbhp.com/ATOZ. Farm Bureau health plans. Yeah, that I think, given more time, is just going to continue to blow over. Because we all kind of knew that whole narrative was pretty ridiculous to start with. A dude's good.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing about that narrative that Dable shut down is he's coached a Josh Heupel wide receiver before. He had Gabe Davis in Buffalo when he was the offensive coordinator with the Bills. He knows, you know, the players coming from that system and what they have to do or what they can do, the adjustments they have to make or don't make or whatever the situation is. He's familiar with players from Josh Heupel's system. If it was a negative, do you think they would have taken Hyatt? And Dable's the one that initiated the trade up to get Hyatt. He's the one that wanted to happen.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's pretty telling.
Everything about this draft, I think, just puts all of that to bed. And I know you could try to keep that narrative open where you go like, well, they still fell to the third round. They weren't first round guys. Like, oh, come on, get out of here with that. First 3 rounds, you know, it's not everything is the first round, sure, but like the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft and having 5 guys fall in there is really great stuff, no matter how you slice it. You can make up all your excuses that you want to try to downplay what's happening here, but ultimately that's just going to fall flat because it just isn't. It's just not right. These dudes believe in Josh Heupel's guys. That is what it is, and that'll just keep panning out. The more guys he gets into the league, and the more they're able to show what they're able to do.